boss in the box. Fucking shop with the boss in the box. Fucking shop with the boss in the box. Fucking shop with the boss in the box. Ladies and gentlemen, you know what time it is. It is Monday night. It is 8 p.m. It is the boss and the box. And guess what, ladies and gentlemen? You know what? I didn't even put the graphic on the screen. I'm so excited. I even messed up everything. This is episode 100, ladies and gentlemen.
The boss in the box. I am one half of your humble heavyweight co-host duo, the Lunchbox. That is one word, capital L, capital B. Thank you very much. Joined as always for the 100th time by my brethren of badass bullshit and birth gallery badassery. I'm stumbling on my words, but most importantly, a birthday yesterday for Brandon the Boss Blacker. So it's not only the show's birthday, but it's your birthday party.
Oh, before we get to that, we already have audio issues. So, all right, so somebody fix Dave. Dave, you're broken.
Well, you know, I mean, that's a given.
Oh, I haven't talked yet.
The other Dave.
Oh.
Occasionally we do slip and use our Christian names here. Ladies and gentlemen, if you hear that ominous voice in the background, we will be bringing him on in a second. It's
God.
This is God. Or at least currently the God of modern day horror, in my opinion.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Remember who you are, Simba.
You know, usually we have this long-winded, intro where we talk about ourselves and stroke our own egos. But you know what? This is episode 100. We have our biggest guest ever. Our hearts are fluttering. Our pants are full. We are here to have some fun, ladies and gentlemen. And I don't even know what to say. Ladies and gentlemen, we have the infamous, the talented, the downright scary David Howard Thornton.
Oh my God! Hey, I've lost my damn mind.
Perfect that you're in company, man. David, thank you so much for taking the time to join us, man. I know you're a busy man, even amongst all the bullshit going on right now. Yeah. You've kept busy.
I do what I can, you know. I'm like, you guys tore me away from making stupid cat videos on Instagram, so that's a good thing. I got a little bored earlier. My roommate's cat was on my lap, and she was just going to town licking herself, so I recorded a video of just me doing sound effects. I need help. I need to get out of this apartment.
So I guess that leads into the first really soft, gentle question that we're going to ask you is, we're kind of talking about it in like pre-production is like, what have you been doing? I mean, how is the COVID era treating you? Because it's treating us all differently. Some of us are prospering. Some of us are just downright in the dumps. Like, how is it treating you?
It's okay. I have my bits of insanity like earlier, but I've been basically catching up on a lot of TV shows and movies and stuff like that, video games. So I think that's what's been keeping me sane, is being entertained this whole entire time.
And what are you playing right now?
I'm playing the Legend of Zelda Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity. It's the longest name for a game.
I haven't even heard of that one yet.
Yeah. It's based on like the Dynasty Warrior games, but they made it a Legend of Zelda game set before Breath of the Wild.
Oh, that's dope. I love
Yeah,
Dynasty
it's fun.
Warriors, man.
Yeah.
So
Wow, that and even bringing that up, Dynasty Warriors, that's a classic itself.
Yeah.
Right there.
Yeah.
So doubling down on the classics. I love it.
Oh yeah, you got to. You know, Zelda, I mean, especially since Zelda just had their like 35th anniversary. So I was like, what? It's my favorite franchise. So
So, like, you know, I've always wanted to know. So, like, you are Art the Clown. Everybody knows this.
Mhm.
Do you have the suit?
I don't know. No, that Damien has all that, which is probably for the
Yeah.
best because I would probably just walk out to the store wearing it some days and put my mask on or something like that just to mess with people.
Now, would you stay silent while you did it?
Oh, of course. Of course.
I mean, just making sure. I mean, people always probably really wonder what does Art's voice sound like. You know?
Yeah.
And
yeah.
just curious if you're just gonna give it to him. You know, just
I think it would really be funny if he just had like some normal sounding voice, but he was like a British accent behind it or something like that. It's just like, what the hell? Because he's doing all these horrible things. He's like, hello there.
Right.
Well, you walked into a situation, didn't you? Oopsie. I do believe I have a little bit of blood on my hands here. Oh dear. Well, this is awkward.
I'm not gonna lie.
I'm
not gonna lie. That might even be scarier than Silent Art. Just like, you know, Art coming over and going, "I'm gonna chop your leg off right now." Just like.
So did you just reveal a fear? Like,
What's that?
Brandon, are you scared of the British?
It's the teeth.
Hello.
And, do I have something in my teeth here? I don't really know. I haven't been to the dentist in quite a while. Actually, the British actually have some of the best dental health care. They just don't do a lot of brace work and stuff like that. But they have some of the cleanest teeth in the world.
I read that somewhere, and you know what? I think what really happened is they got tired of everybody cracking on their teeth. So they were like, you know what? Fuck that. Fuck that. We're not gonna give him that joke. Like, there's already enough jokes on the British.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I mean, that's the only thing right now currently we've got in the world as Americans is, you know, hey, at least we're not the British.
We can't even say, hey, we're not the French anymore. So just...
Friend of the show, Joanne Filkey, she says, very Peter Sellers of you.
Oh, thank you. I love Peter Sellers. Oh my God. Oh my God. I can watch the Pink Panther movies over and over and over and over and over. Those are just brilliant. It's just like there is a boom in the building. What a boom. You have a boom in the building.
So
oh, they're so good.
So with every guest that we have, we kind of take a little deep dive into the history of just kind of where they started. So like being an actor, where did this journey start with you? Was it happenstance? Or was it carefully crafted? Like, what is the story of David Howard Thornton, the actor?
It oddly started growing up doing church theater in the Methodist Church. It was just like I went from plays about Jesus to hacking women apart, you know, as you do.
I mean,
A natural progression of things.
Oh yeah.
There's a lot of gore in the Bible.
Crucifixion to you know, I guess almost castration. So, hey.
What was the first play that you remember being in?
Now, the first real play I remember myself being in was when I was in preschool. My preschool did a production of The Carrot Seed.
Okay.
And I was the carrot and the seed.
So scoring the lead from the get-go.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I had no lines. I loved it. It was just and they had this like little paper, not paper mache, but that crepe paper they wrapped around me to make me a giant carrot. And I had little dangly green stuff. And when I was in the seed, I had to curl up in a ball on the stage. And I think this is when I discovered my comedy bearings. Is like, because like the little green crepe paper was hanging in my face. I just kept going. And everybody just started laughing. So I just kept doing it more and more. And I just started upstaging the whole entire show.
And by the way, might I remind the individuals in the chat, if you have questions for our guest, please drop them in the chat. We want to see any and all questions. This is all about you, as it is for us. So,
Right, you don't reach 100 episodes without at least a couple people watching. Yeah. Mike, Joanne, Jordan, primarily thank you all three. Thank you all three for participating in the birthday surprise last night. And everybody else out there, man, fire them questions away. Let's have a good time. This is not only our show, this is your show.
Yes, and happy birthday a day late.
Well, thank you, sir. I appreciate that. Cody Klein in the chat says the horror version of Silent Bob. Okay.
I was gonna say the carrot was your first preparation for art. Like you didn't say shit. So
yeah.
Here we go. 30 years later, you're like, all right, I'm not saying nothing.
Yeah, exactly.
And
the fun thing was like that preschool teacher that I had, when I did children's theater later on with the local community theater, she would always come to every single one of my shows, and she'll bring her granddaughter to him. She's like, I used to teach him when he was your age.
How'd you feel about that, man? Like, is that a really cool feeling to see somebody who helped throw you along still following you?
Oh, yeah, because it had been ages since I had seen her, too. So all of a sudden she shows up and she's like, I don't think you remember. Before she even finished, like, Mrs. Harden, oh, my God, how are you? Because I used to get in trouble all the time. I was a handful. Oh, my God. I was in timeout all the time growing up.
For what, primarily?
I got in fights all the time. I never started fights. People would pick at me, and I would just lash out. I had a chemical imbalance, actually, as a kid, so I couldn't really control my anger. It was like I always equated it to like the Incredible Hulk type of thing. And just I was Bruce Banner 1 second, Hulk the next second. I had no idea what the other one was doing.
Don't make you angry. They wouldn't like you when you're angry.
Yeah. Luckily, that all went away when I hit puberty. I think everything balanced out. I'm like, oh, thank God.
You went the opposite direction. Most kids are nice, and then puberty hits and they turn into raging bastards. You went the opposite direction. You're like, no, I'm gonna be cool about it.
Yeah, it's really interesting meeting people that didn't know me when I was a little kid, and then they meet people also that knew me when I was a little kid, and they're like, he's a totally different person now. It's like, he was always in the office.
So we do instantly have some questions in the chat already. So, and we're gonna bounce back and forth, because it's all about participation. So our friend Scotty McRib, he's from the band Gershock.
Sounds delicious.
I don't know, man. Have you had a McRib?
Yeah, they actually aren't that good. I think they're kind of rated. I don't understand why everybody goes so crazy with the McRib every year. I'm like, it's kind of eh. Especially when I'm from the South. I grew up on real barbecue.
Me too. But you know what? I do have a soft spot for the McRib. Maybe it was because that was it was promoted with the Flintstones movie.
Yeah, you're right. It did.
Exactly. And that was like the first big break of the McRib. And I was huge on that Flintstones movie.
Yeah.
Like, I really thought that, they picked the perfect cast for it. Everybody nailed it.
Yeah.
And then there was the McRib surrounding it. So, I mean, I went and saw it in the theaters 3 or 4 times, and I got a McRib every time afterwards because McDonald's was, 2 blocks away.
Yeah.
Well,
Oh, I remember those days. Oh, my God.
What?
Which, actually, real quick, Brandon, before you do that, something I want to bring up before I forget. Most recently, in your hometown, they just shut down, and I don't know if they've demolished it yet, but the childhood theater you used to go catch movies at, man.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about that,
Yeah, it was, it seems like all the ones that I went to, I mean, the first one I always went to was shut down, like, years and years ago. But like the other one is the Hollywood 16, which became the Hollywood 18 in Huntsville, Alabama. And I'm like, they opened that one up when I was in middle school. So, like my best friend and I would be there, especially during the summer, every week, going to see movies and everything like that. And it was a big deal when they opened that one. It was huge. It was a huge theater. And I was like, it's just a lot of good memories there.
All right.
Yeah, all our childhoods are disappearing. I don't know if it's just because the world sucks or because we're getting old. It could be a combination thereof.
Yes, that and the malls and all that kind of stuff too. Like they tore down the big mall in my hometown that everybody went to. I remember that one opened up when I was a kid, and that was like the place everybody went every weekend. That was the place the whole entire all the high school kids and stuff like that we would all hang out at the mall.
Yeah. Oh, our malls are pretty much decimated out near our area over here. Like we have a place called the Antioch Mall, and it used to have any and every store you can imagine. Now it's got a van store. It's got that. Yeah.
Sure.
It's kind of sad.
Yeah, there's not much to it.
Everything.
No, it's just I kind of feel like I'm like talking like an old man these days. But like, these kids now, they have no idea how much that was just the thing. Just hang out with your friends at the mall, and God, that was great times.
Right, you didn't even go to buy shit. You just went and sat at the fountain.
Oh yeah, the only thing I bought at the mall basically was food.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a food court guy myself, as you might be able to tell by the physique. Real quick before we move on from the McRib, John Ruff says he would rather meet Art the Clown in an alley than eat another McRib.
Smart. And speaking of McRib, Scotty McRib in the chat, he does ask, what are some of your acting inspirations?
Oh God, so many. I mean, they named one of them earlier, Peter Sellers. He was a great one. I mean, I really like the really good physical comedians. That's what I really honed my craft around. So like the old school ones like Keaton, Chaplin, Marx Brothers, Laurel and Hardy, Three Stooges, all that I grew up on. Then more modern day ones, I would say like Mr. Bean, Rowan Atkinson, Jim Carrey, Doug Jones, all those guys. I just love that kind of physical comedy. Robin Williams is a huge one for me too. I was like, his death hit me hard.
Yeah. That was the first celebrity death that really just cracked me upside my head. Part of it just being all I ever heard was good things about the man as a human being and as all the iconic roles. But he's also a Bay Area guy.
Yeah.
So that's home turf, so to hear about him, man, that sucks. That actually talking about your influences there and all the great physical comedians brought me to one of my questions just kind of accidentally. And that was, I listened to some of your interviews, when Terrifier first came out on Talk is Jericho and whatnot, and you talk a lot about body manipulation.
Right.
And you talk a lot about the Marx Brothers. You talk a lot about Chaplin and all the silent actors and how, they tell that story without even uttering a word. Mm-hmm. Do you think that's something that's a bit of a lost art in today's, high-tech day and age?
Oh, definitely. Definitely, especially with American comedy. I've noticed there's it seems like there's like a growing divide between American comedy and British comedy, especially now. Like British comedy just seems to be on a higher plane of intellect these days, and it's just they still do a lot of physical comedy in Britain. I've discovered too. It's just like I feel like it's all about fart jokes and sex jokes over here now. So it's like simple humor. I hate to say.
Do you think that might be a bit of America's problem with fads? We go through our quick ups and downs, whereas a lot of other countries, being as they are older, embrace classic a lot more. They embrace tradition and not only the fad of it, but keeping lost arts forward. Do you think that might have something to do with that?
That might be part of it. I never really thought of it that way, but that's a good point. Yeah. That makes sense. It just seems like, America, we're such a baby nation still. So we're kind of in that, adolescent phase. We're just like easily distracted by everything. It's like, oh, this is the new thing. Oh, this is the new thing. Oh, this is the new thing.
All right.
Yeah. And it just doesn't lend. We're trying to keep up with the chat and everything. It's going crazy tonight. Thank you all, by the way. I was telling one of our guys that I got a question that he just asked that's we're getting there.
Yeah. Okay. So, kind of shifting directions. I wanted to give you this question from a Cricket Weasel in the chat. Mm-hmm. She asks, "Have you ever met Kane Hodder?"
Oh yeah.
And she also mentions you should talk to him about his paranormal investigation group, Hollywood Ghost Hunters. I'd love to see you guys do an investigation together.
I did not know he did that. Oh my god, I totally gotta talk to him about that because I love that kind of stuff.
So are you into like paranormal investigations and stuff? Do you participate in that or just interested in it?
I have done one. When I was at a convention up in Buffalo, New York, and it was it was Jack Kenna that was one of the guests there, and he led a ghost hunt through because we had the convention in the old train terminal building there that is haunted by several ghosts, like a little kid ghost and stuff like that, and a lot of crazy stuff happened that night. I heard stuff, I felt stuff, saw stuff. It was crazy.
Haunted buildings are really cool. I've been to oh my god, I forgot the name of it. The boys' prison up in Jamestown here in California.
Ooh, wow.
The La Purisima mission in Lompoc, and that shit, dude. It was just, I mean, it's an old mission, which of course we all know what old missions were based on, genocide and whatnot, and which that's all terrible, but when you get into the paranormal side of things, it really begs interest, and there's such an eerie feeling behind it.
Oh, it's so, and I guess I'm really sensitive to that kind of stuff too. I can usually walk into a building and tell when it's haunted. It's just like I just get a feeling. I can usually tell like what room or what area is haunted too. I'm just like, yeah, there's like, it's just I get that feeling. I get that little unease and the chills and stuff like that. I'm like, this area right over here, nah, something's weird here.
Yeah, I'd like to hang out with you in that regard because if a building was on fire, I wouldn't even notice.
I mean, this kind of stuff doesn't really scare me as long as I know it's like it's not trying to hurt me. That I'm like, oh, okay, it's just something else that used to be here. So it's just like it's just going through their emotions and it's like, yeah, okay, cool. You respect me, I'll respect you. We're cool.
Cricket Weasel says Kane Hodder co-founded the group with R.A. Milahoff.
Oh, R.A. Yeah.
And Rick McKellen.
Oh my god, I definitely gotta talk to Kane about that next time I see him.
Glad we could give you something to do too.
Yeah.
Like, you're nice enough to do our podcast. Now we're going to kick you over into paranormal investigations with Kane Hodder.
Oh my god, that would be fun. I'll be the Shaggy of the group. Whoa, what's that, Kane? Shut up, David.
Okay, so what are some things that get Kane Hodder laughing? I've never seen it. I've never seen that guy laugh in my life.
Are you kidding? He is the funniest guy. He is so funny. He's a prankster. Oh. He likes it. I did a convention in Sacramento, and I'm sitting there just talking to someone, and all of a sudden I'm in a headlock, and I'm just like, "Hi, Kane." How do you know it was me? I'm like, who else would this be?
Yeah, I don't see Robert Englund walking over and giving you a headlock out of nowhere.
Oh my god, he's so strong, dude. The guy is an ox. It's just like
so I mean, throughout the year 2020 and probably 2021, you've been filming some movies. What is it like filming a movie during a pandemic?
It sucks. It really sucks because like we all have to be very conscientious about the masks and distancing and all that kind of stuff. I've been filming a new horror film with a lot of people from Terrifier called Stream, and we've really, we're quarantining ourselves in a hotel for a while down in Gettysburg, and every single day we had to get tested, at least temperature checks and stuff like that, and it's having to wear masks all the time except when we're on set ready to film, but my character wore a mask too, so that was kind of easier for me, but it still sucked though. It's just like it's not as fun. And when we did our pickups for Terrifier 2, we had to have a smaller crew because it's just to try to keep it safer and everything like that, so we didn't have the whole gang there for some of these last bits that we were having to film, and so that kind of sucked too. But we'll get past it eventually. You know, like once these vaccines get out there and everybody's healthy, you know, we'll get back to normal. But what has really sucked though is it's kind of inhibiting me on taking some, like, you know, doing auditions and stuff for like shows that are filmed outside of the U.S. up in like Canada and stuff like that. Like a lot of the CW shows I've been like trying to get on because I love all those superhero shows. I would kill to be Joker on like Batwoman or something like that.
Yeah.
But they film up in Vancouver, and right now, you know, you can't, if you actually go to Canada, you have to quarantine for weeks there, or you know, or you just can't get in. And I'm like, so they're not really trying to hire people outside of the U.S. right now. They're trying to cast locally there, and it's like, oh, come on.
Oh man, you just like rocketed off like 3 or 4 topics that we wanted to touch on in like one fucking sentence there.
I'm amazing.
Yeah, so far so good, man. Like we were scared we were just going to be staring in shock that you were nice enough to come hang out with us tonight, and instead we're just rolling like normal. So backing up just a smidge.
I'm helping.
You mentioned stream.
Yes.
John Ruff had already asked us, you know, how did that go? I know that was what kept you from doing the show for a couple weeks. Mm-hmm. How did that go? And can you tell us anything about it just yet?
I can't really tell you anything about it just yet, unfortunately. But it's been going great. I still have some scenes to film that we're having to shoot up here in Staten Island and stuff like that. That they just didn't have the facilities we needed in that hotel for those certain scenes and stuff like that. But it's been crazy filming this thing because we have a lot of like famous people from horror films that are part of this cast, and it's just like it's kind of amazing to be on set with these people. And even if I'm not in a scene with them, I you know, just knowing I'm in the same movie with all these people is just amazing. But like, you know, I can't name a lot of them because they haven't revealed that these people are in the movie yet. And I'm so excited, but I know like they've already, you know, on IMDb they have Jeffrey Combs listed and Tim Reed. And like my first day on set, I got to watch those two do a scene together, and it was just like a master's class, being able to watch these guys, you know, men I had watched growing up for years and respected them, especially Jeffrey Combs. He's such a great character actor. Yeah. And just be able to watch him do his thing. I was just studying him this whole time, just getting ideas in my head about how I could approach things in the future. And it's also nice to see these people occasionally mess up, because it's like, yeah, none of us are perfect. Because I sometimes berate myself when I mess up, and I step out of frame and like, but you know, everybody does that. So I'm like, oh, cool. I'm not the only one. People that have been doing this for 30 years are still like sometimes stepping out of frame. They're like, crap.
Oh man, so you have that one coming out, and you also have and I lost my bloody note. You also have the Dark Offerings coming out.
Yes. Oh, I got choked on my own. Yeah. Let me get some water. All of a sudden.
So the Dark Offerings, based on what I've seen on the movie trailer, it looks entirely to be kind of a social distance movie. Pretty much, yeah. It was filmed completely over Zoom during the pandemic. Wow.
Really?
Yeah. Everything was filmed over Zoom, so no one's really in the same scene together, you know, in the same room, I mean. We're in the same scenes together, but that was hard because, you know, I'm so used to acting face-to-face with my co-stars, and having to do these very intense scenes with someone over a computer screen it's so different.
Like what were some of the challenges of that? Like, just was it just not being able to get in there and get that, I mean, the aura of somebody? There's a difference between being physically there. Yeah. Was it just hard to really feel it?
It's hard to describe. It's like I'm used to having someone physically there with me, and so having to act opposite, and you know, with this, it's one thing like how, you know, how we're corresponding with each other over this, you know, but it's like having to do these really intense scenes and you're not physically in the room with each other, and sometimes you get that little bit of a lag or something like that too. You're like, ah.
like how many times do you go over a scene through Zoom or Skype or whatever you're doing? Like, how many times do you do that before they're like, okay, that's good?
We would do several takes, and we'd do practice takes. We would rehearse it a few times, but they'll still even film they would record the rehearsals too, just in case something great happened and stuff like that. So yeah, several times we would do it, and I was exhausted by the end of it because I have more respect now because I got to be like on the opposite side, I guess, of what I'm usually doing. So I got to see what it was like to do all the screaming for once. I'm like, man, I feel for my co-stars now in Terrifier with all the screaming they have to do. I'm like, I was so hoarse by the end of it, and then also because I'm not used to screaming so much. It's like my vocal cords aren't used to that. But also I was like, I got like a tension headache from it too because it's such an intense. Because it's my whole entire scene is just extremely intense.
Now, did you actually get to film this at home, or did you have to be at a place to do it?
I went to one of the friend of the director's place. They had much better set. I suck with technology, so they helped me set up everything. So just like, yeah, they had a much better lighting and surroundings, so it looked like a cooler apartment than mine. So I was like, oh, this works so much better. Plus, I didn't have to worry about getting blood all over the place and stuff like that. Like, it's your place, not mine.
That's good. Do you have a tentative date on when that's coming out?
I don't know yet. I know Marcus, who's the director for it, Slavin, is he's in the process of editing it right now. So I'm probably thinking summer or something like that. Hopefully.
Perfect.
Yeah.
All right. So let's.
About time we might be able to get together and watch it.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah. Hopefully.
I hope so. But let's get to some questions about the man or the entity of the hour, Mr. Art the Clown. You ready to answer some nerd questions, sir?
Oh, of course. Nerd out.
So, becoming Art the Clown, obviously you had to go through some sort of audition process. What happened there? Like, what did you have to do in order to become Art the Clown?
Well, it was I saw a posting on Actors Access, which is a website for actors for auditions, and they were looking for a tall, skinny guy with physical comedy experience or clowning experience to play Art, and I was like, oh my god, it's perfect for me. And I had been wanting to get into film work, and I was like, okay, this would be a great, foot in the door at least if I could get this, be experienced and all that. I had no idea what it was going to become. I was like, this just might be a good experience.
Wait, so you do have clown experience?
I would say more like not really true clowning experience, but like I did a lot of comedial arts, which is like slapstick comedy. So I that's my experience I have with it. So that's.
Well, and that's the thing is prior to that starting to be landing all these horror roles, you were a comedic actor.
Yes.
So you're like, okay, like I do all the slapstick, and now they want me to be this creepy clown. Go ahead and pick up where I cut you off there. I'm sorry about that.
Yeah, no, that's pretty much it. Yeah, that's what it was for me. Just going into the audition, I watched Mike Gianelli's performance in All Hallows Eve just to kind of get the basics of the character. So I had seen the movie before, but I went back and rewatched it, so I refamiliarized myself with the character. And so I go into the audition, and I thought, because I didn't get any scripts or anything like that, I was like, okay, they'll just have a script there, and I can read over it when I get there. Go into the room, and I see all these people's scripts in their hands, and I go up to the sign in, but there are no scripts. I'm like, oh, can I get a copy of the script? And they're like, oh, you should have one. I'm like, oh, no. I don't have. This is like my first time auditioning for like a major film role, and I was like, oh my god, I'm not prepared. I am not prepared. Oh my god, because I know I'm perfect for this. Now I'm going to look horrible to these people because I'm not prepared. And so they called me in the room, and I'm just like, I am so sorry. I never got a script. I'm like, oh, yeah, we didn't send you one. You don't need one. Art doesn't talk. I'm like, oh, okay. Phew, thank God. Oh, wait, so what do I do? And they're like, we just want you to like make up a scene where you decapitate a guy and you're happy about doing it and go. And I'm like, can I have a few seconds or a few minutes to like think of something? Like, no, we just want to see what you can do on your feet. I'm like, okay. And this is where I'm glad I have improv training, because you never know where you're going to get thrown into a situation like that where you have to just think on your feet and just go with the flow. And that's what I did. And came up with a scene where I like cartoonishly snuck up behind my victim and like knocked him out, took out a hacksaw, sawed off his head, picked it up, looked at it, tasted the blood, didn't like the taste. So I took out a salt shaker and seasoned it. Liked it, kind of bathed in the blood a little bit, and then I just skipped out on my merry way.
Perfect.
Yep. Wow. That's what they thought too, I guess, because they basically asked me to come back for a they asked me to come back for a makeup test in the room, which is, that's the good sign.
Right,
so
that's like the drug test. Like, well, we're investing this much in you, so you pretty much got the job as long as you don't bomb it.
Yeah. So that's like every actor's dream, I guess, is like, because usually, when you go in for these things, you have to go back in several times for callbacks and whatnot. And I didn't have to do any of that. And, I basically walked out of that room knowing I had the part. So that was pretty cool.
So where do you draw your inspiration for tackling art when you're getting ready for a scene?
Well, initially, I basically mashed up my love of all those great physical actors I talked about earlier and blended that with my love of horror villains, because I look at Art as being like the ultimate horror fanboy. He's a little bit of every single slasher icon that came before him. There's bits of Freddy and Jason, Mike Myers, Pinhead, Leatherface, Chucky, Jigsaw, all those guys are in Art. I
also noticed you in one interview you mentioned with a little bit of Ed Gein.
Yeah, a little bit of Ed Gein there too, of course. Yeah. But he, so many of those other slashers were based on him as well. So.
Yeah, especially Leatherface.
Oh, of course. Of course. So you got to pay respect where it's due, and that's what Art is. He's a love letter to the genre. I look, and that's how I approached him. So I basically what I thought in my head. This is how I always would look at him, as like he is the bastard child of Freddy Krueger and Harpo Marx.
Yeah.
Oh wow, that's an awesome explanation right there.
Yeah.
With that being said, how cathartic is it to hacksaw an entire length through, an individual?
Well, when it wasn't actually Catherine there, so I knew, she wasn't freezing cold and miserable and all that, so when we had the dummy there, that was so much fun to actually hacksaw through that thing, because I really got to saw through this prosthetic.
And that was my question on the follow-up of that is, what the fuck was that? Was it a prosthetic, gel torso?
Yeah.
Like, was it hard?
No, it was I don't know what he made it out of. That's a Damien question, because he knows all that kind of stuff. But it jiggled. It was like you see it in, like, when it's cutting, it has the butt jiggle even to it, like a natural butt jiggle.
And you can see that on screen too.
Yeah. It's like some people think like, oh my God, you're actually cutting through her. I'm like, no, that's just how good that prosthetic was. It actually jiggled like a natural, like a person would.
Well, that was the thing I thought of. I don't know if you were into the show The Deadliest Warrior, but they used those gel torsos for the ballistics tests and whatnot, and that was the first thing I thought of the first time I watched it.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God, they went and called the guys from The Deadliest Warrior and bought the gel torso.
No, this is what Damien made. He actually molded it off of Catherine. She they had she's the MVP of this film, I think, because she went through hell for filming that scene, because it was like 20 degrees that night in that room because we had no heat in there. And she's having to be upside down like that for hours on end. Would flip her up after every 30 seconds or so. But still, that's miserable. But also when they were doing the mold of her, she originally came down and she had too much of the releasing gel on her, so it would have messed up the mold. So she had to wipe some of it off. Well, she apparently wiped too much of it off. So when they went to try to get her out of the mold, she was stuck inside of it, and they almost had to take her to the ER. Yeah, so it's like they had to slowly over an hour just pry her out of that thing.
I wonder how that explanation went at the ER when it was like, okay.
Oh, they didn't take her to the ER. That's a good thing, but I can only imagine how that would have gone.
So, by the way, we're doing a movie and they had to pry me out of this thing. Like,
yeah.
Hey, at least it's a good story to tell the kids forever.
Oh yeah. It's that's why I have to hand it to Catherine, because she fully committed to this thing with the pure hell for it, but she did it because she knew what that scene was going to be.
And dude, it's iconic. We don't get nowadays. It's especially in the horror genre. It's really hard to bag an iconic moment. While you were doing that, while you were filming that, when you saw the final cut, did you kind of realize, man, like, we just did something that's going to be talked about for years at this point now? Like, nobody's seen this in a while.
Yeah, I actually had that realization when I first read the script, because, Damien wrote out all what's going on in it, and I just thought, okay, well, that's just for us to know, because I'm so used to horror films where they don't show any of that. They show you the before and the after. They don't actually show you the whole thing happening. And I asked him, I was like, so all this description, are you going to actually film it? I was like, oh, we're going to film all of that. I'm like, what? You're actually going to show me actually cutting through this thing and guts falling out and all this? He's, yeah, we're going to do that. I'm like, hell yes.
Dude, my wife is vehemently anti-horror movie. Like, I married a woman who is just the opposite of me in that way.
I didn't even know that.
Getting ready for this show, I made her watch Terrifier with me the other night.
Oh, no.
And no,
I'm surprised you're not divorced.
Like, she didn't bitch once.
Mm-hmm.
She did. After it was over, she was like, I would like to watch something a little more happy, please. But beyond that, like, when that scene hit, she sat bolt upright and just stared for the whole goings on of it and was like, you're asking about that, right? Of course. Like, so I mean, hats off to you. You took the most anti-horror person and had them interested in said scene.
That's awesome.
So we do have some requests in the chat. If you can do the clown grin for everybody. Ah! Oh my God! Yes. Oh wow. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. My dentist thanks you too.
Oh man. Okay, so like what do you feel are some distinct distinctions between Art the Clown versus any of the big name horror icons? What makes him stand out above the rest?
Well, it's like he because he has all those traits of the other guys, but I think it's because he blends them all together. So, you have the silent nature, but he's very animated.
Yes.
It's like, because, like you look at Jason and Mike Myers, it's just guy in a mask, and it's, they do a lot with the breathing, especially like Kane with the breathing and stuff like that. But there's not a whole lot. You can't see a lot of emotion of what they're thinking, and that's what I think is where Art stands out. It's like, even though he's not saying anything, you can basically tell what he's thinking, because like I'm able to express so much with just my face.
Yeah, absolutely. And not only that, but like you said, the emotion from there. But he's not a lumbering Hulk. He's a big dude. Right. But he's not a slow moving monster like them. Right. You also referenced Freddy. I'm assuming that's just brutality and cynicism.
And and just that the humor, that he has there too. I think that's he has a little bit of the Chucky and the Freddy sense of humor about things. He finds entertainment in what he's doing. Now, I think that's one of my favorite lines in there is with the Puya's character, the cat lady, is just like where she's like he does this because he thinks it's funny. It's like he's not like a lot of other villains out there doing things out of revenge or something like that. He's doing it because it's just entertainment for him.
Something to do, so a way to get his rocks off.
Yeah, he's like the anti-clown because clowns entertain. Their job's to entertain other people. He's doing everything to entertain himself.
All right. So before we get to the big possible details and talking about Terrifier 2, let's see if we get a little itty bitty bit of information from there. I would like to know if you'd like to play a game.
Yeah, of course.
We want to play a game.
You want to play a game?
So I like to torture every guest that we have with just a very simple game, and we usually do a drinking game. We have our beers ready. I think Lunchbox has a beer today. I
don't.
I know. I'm sorry. I should have
have water,
you,
but it's my Joker class, so.
That's a sweet Joker glass, and we do have some Joker questions. And I feel bad that I didn't forewarn you, but I know how busy you are, and you were so gracious and so accessible, which, by the way, is a trademark of yours. Is that accessibility? What actually made me approach you was you did another friend of mine's podcast, and they had 5-10 episodes tops. And I asked them how they got you, and they were like, well, we just reached out. And I was like, well, I'll just... Yeah, and I was like, I'll just reach out. And, not 2 hours later, you were like, hey, man, love to. Film in, get back to me. Just stay on top of it. I got you.
Yeah.
And now I feel like a real dick because I could have hit you up earlier today and been like, hey, grab some beers. I got an idea.
It's okay. Don't worry about it.
All right, so I like to torture all my guests with a very simple drinking game. So basically... if you get an answer right, we get the drink. If you get an answer wrong, you get the drink. You're drinking water, that's okay.
I'll just have to pee.
Yeah. so we get to torture you. We'll see how well you do. Currently in first place out of all our guests, we have a band called the Randy Savages, which is a tribute band to the Macho Man Randy Savage. Ooh, yeah.
And if you haven't checked them out,
dude.
If you haven't checked them out, David, I highly recommend them. They're damn good.
That's awesome.
Yeah, like damn good.
All right, so the game that we're gonna play, I got 10 questions for you. I throw up 4. I say 10.
All right.
The game is simply called Horror Clown or Not. I'm gonna name off some clowns that have been in scary movies, and you're gonna tell me if it's real or fake.
Okay.
So, number 1, Stitches the Clown.
Oh yeah, that's real. I love that movie.
Ding ding ding.
Great British comedy too. Oh, it's not really comedy, but it's got a lot of funny. It's a creative movie.
Yes, it is.
That's where I was actually first introduced to where over there in the UK, every clown has they make an egg of their character, and it's like a clown museum.
Ooh. And
I've actually read up on that a little bit.
Yeah.
And
I just wonder, is there someone made an art egg yet and put it in there that museum?
Why have you not made an art egg yet and sent it on over?
It'll probably get lost.
I doubt it.
Customs
You probably get its own pedestal, man.
It would just...
All right, number 2, Heckles the Clown.
Heckles? I don't think that's real.
Correct. You are absolutely right. That is a fake name.
Did you steal that from the ICP song?
Yes, I did.
Heckles and Macabre.
All right, number 3, Jumbo the Clown.
Jumbo the Clown. Oh man, that's tough because I could see that if he's real, he's not a main character. He's not the main villain. If he's real, I could see him being a henchman or something like that. So I'm gonna say real.
You are absolutely correct, and that was also a trick question because it is the name of one of the clowns from Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
There we go.
Which one was Jumbo again?
The big one.
The big one.
The big one. My wife just walked in the room and she did the big one sign .
The big one. It would be funnier if he was the tiny one, though.
No, that was JoJo.
Yeah. But that just makes more sense, you know. It's like he's Jumbo and he's like a tiny little guy.
All right, sir. Number 4, Ribcage the Clown.
I don't think that's real.
All right. Ribcage.
Like cosplay or something like that.
You would think so, but Ribcage the Clown is actually a real scary movie clown from a movie called Clowntergeist in 2000.
Clowntergeist.
Yes, in 2017.
Now, do they have like what's the doll under the bed for that? Then, if it's it can't just be another clown. It's got to be a human.
It's like some weird movie about like an actual supernatural clown that just seems to pop up here and there and then just disappear and then show up and kill people and then disappear again. It's weird.
Oh.
Sidebar, has anybody heard if Clown NATO's still coming out?
Okay, so we got one down, sir. All right, number 5.
Oh, I forgot to drink. I have to.
There you go. Wizzo the Clown.
Wizzo the Clown. Wizzo. I know that Wizzo was the wizard on the Bozo show when I was a kid. So I would say no, because that was...
Well, to answer Lunchbox's question, Clown NATO is actually a real movie that has been released, and Wizzo the Clown is a side clown in that movie.
Oh, okay. They ripped off
down,
Wizzo
dude.
from the
Why everybody
Bozo
fuck like
show then. How dare they? Because I think that was Blackstone the Magician that actually played him on Bozo. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
He'll go doody 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 doo. That was his magic word. Doody 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 doo.
I'm sorry. I'm throwing you some curveballs here.
It's okay. I have to take another drink now.
Right. Get hydrated.
Yeah, I gotta stay hydrated.
Number 6, Fanny the Clown.
Fanny the Clown. Nah.
Nah, correct. Absolutely fake.
Yeah.
All right, number 7, Pop-Up the Clown.
Pop-Up?
Pop-Up.
Pop-Up the Clown. I've never heard of Pop-Up the Clown, so I'm saying no.
Ding, ding, ding. That's right. All right, and we got 3 more real quick, or 2 or 3, whatever. Wrinkles the Clown.
Wrinkles, that's from the movie,
Yes.
yeah. Wrinkles Clown, yeah.
Yeah, really cool.
And I love it because he states, I'm gonna correct something. He says he's the one that started all the crazy, someone standing out in public dressed as a clown craze. No, that was actually Mike Levy and Jason, our Fuzz and Lens guys from Terrifier. They did it about a year before he was doing it. He was the Staten Island clown. It's the guy, the exterminator that I decapitate. Yeah. That's the Staten Island clown.
No shit.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
You heard it here first, hopefully. Shots fired. Shots
Or
fired.
at least you heard it here today.
Yeah. You're a imposter, Wrinkles.
You lying sack of shit, we'll find you.
All right.
Oh, dude, you straight through the Friends. Fuck you there. I love it. I mean, I hated Friends, but I've thrown one of those every so often when I can't throw up the middle fingers. I'll throw up.
Oh, it's so much fun to do. Just to like.
Our buddy Mike Vanek says my dad loves this show. All right. I'm glad we're appealing to your dad.
And tell him buy a shirt or a coffee mug.
That's right. We got brand new T-shirts. Shameless plug.
So fancy. Look at these shirts is here.
Well, and that I surprised Brandon with these for his birthday. Like, I kept this down for a month and sent him to his house, had his wife pick him up, like, made sure that last night when we did the big reveal that everybody just dropped their jackets and bam, we're wearing Talking Shop shirts.
Thank God they dropped the jackets and not their pants.
That might have happened, but that's just because I forget to wear a belt from time to time, but, it is what it is. Hey, got to show
what happened to me. It literally happened in 2nd grade. I was doing show and tell and my pants fell down. I shit you not. And my teacher, Ms. Musgrove, she's like, "Oh, David, dear, come here." And she had a safety pin my pants up for me. Actually, she didn't even have safety pins. She had clothespins. She had a clothespin in my pants, so I had to wear clothespins on my pants for the rest of the day.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
All right, my friend, I got two more to fire off for you. All right, Gags the Clown.
Gags the Clown. I think that's a real clown from a movie.
Yes, it is. Gags the Clown from 2019 slasher film. All right.
Cool.
All right, last one.
I think of Joker's like first like assistant was Gaggy the Clown.
Yes.
This little guy.
All right, last one, and that is Twisty the Clown.
Oh, of course.
Okay.
Dude, what the fuck?
But that
That's
wasn't a
not even
movie. That was
fair.
a TV show.
Yes, it is. But he's a scary clown.
Oh God, I love Twisty. John Carroll Lynch. Oh my God, he was fantastic. He was fantastic as Twisty.
It's such a good tragic character.
Oh my God, when they actually killed him off, I was like, no.
Yeah, it was like, what do you mean you're gonna take Twisty? He's my favorite of the season. Even though it wasn't my favorite season of that
It was my
show.
favorite.
It wasn't my favorite plot wise, but visually.
Yeah.
It was my favorite. Like, I'm big into freak shows and clown stuff, circus. Like, visually, I just love the aesthetic.
Yeah, and I think that character is like the standout character from that whole entire series too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, even to this day, he's still one of the more iconic. Once again, when you think AHS, you think Twisty the Clown.
Yeah.
Like even despite all the great work everybody else did, he's still just bam. You say those letters, bam, Twisty.
Yeah, if you're able to stand out above that rest of that cast, that's saying something.
Yeah, no doubt, phenomenal cat. I'm a huge Evan Peters fan.
Mm-hmm.
Like I find it the fact that he wasn't on the last season turned me off a lot.
Yeah. I mean, if you stand out over Jessica Lange of all people,
Yeah.
it's just like, wow.
All right, so
The tip of my tiny hat to John Carroll Lynch for that.
So for the stats of Talking Shop with the Boss in the Box, you are currently in second place out of all of our guests. You got 8 out of 10 correct. Congratulations. You are right behind the Randy Savages. Ooh, yeah, brother.
Oh, yeah.
And just ahead of Gershon.
Just ahead of Gershon.
All right, we do have a tradition on our show. Our number one fan and mascot, Jordan Marin Harrison, always asks our guests for a shout out.
All right.
And she asked if you could toss her a shout out in a creepy voice of your choosing.
All right. So Jordan, I see the name down here. Jordan, should I just say Jordan Harrison? With the whole name?
Either or, just Jordan would work.
Jordan. Okay.
Hello there, Jordan. How are you doing, my boy? Ah, your favorite clown up here. I hope I put a smile on your face.
Even though I was doing the Joker voice, but it still
This
works.
is fucking perfect. Number one, so, I mean, I want to jump at the Terrifier too, but you touched on the Joker. We have to talk about the Joker.
Well, and we had chat questions about the Joker too. Some Cricket said he should play the Joker, and I tabled it because I wanted to be like, Cricket, sweetheart, thank you for all your participation tonight, but where the fuck have you been? This man has been the Joker on multiple occasions. Yes. He was the Joker in Nightwing Escalation, which was, I dove into that series as soon as you jumped on board with us. Mm-hmm. And, dude, your Joker was so awesome. It was Mark Hamill come to life.
Thank you. That was my big inspiration for it. I didn't want to do a full-on Mark Hamill impersonation, but I blended a little bit of Romero in there, a little bit of Ledger, and just added my own little stink to it as well. So,
oh my God, no! When I watched that first and called Brandon, was like, dude, here's the link. It's Mark Hamill with a splash of Cesar Romero.
Mm-hmm.
And for you to say that, it's like, wow, I actually paid attention to something for once in my life.
Good job. Yeah, actually, that's I actually had my fanboy moment with that because it's back when I was still on Twitter. Someone commented they had just seen it and they're like, oh my God, Mark Hamill should see your Joker. And I commented back, I was like, yeah, if Mark Hamill ever even saw my Joker, if he even knows who I am, I would plots. And I kid you not, like just a few minutes later, there's a message that shows up and goes, "Plots away, David. Great job." And there's a little thumbs up and a little Joker card next to it. And I was like, yeah.
Wonderful. Like that. Those are those moments that make you feel fantastic in life, right?
Yeah.
When who you were trying to emulate comes out and says, take a bow.
Yeah. I was like, what?
Because I feel like in the movies, specifically movies, like we have our 60s Batman, with the Cesar Romero, but in the movies, I feel like every Joker that we have gotten has just been a little tiny smidge of what the Joker can be, but it's missing that Mark Hamillness. Like the cartoon, the video games, you name it, the voice just drives it over the edge, and you can tell the psychology just from the voice, and it's perfect, at least in my opinion.
I agree. It's so funny because like when Mark originally, he was reluctant to take on the Joker because he knew how iconic it was, and shortly after the first Batman movie came out, so he was so afraid of being compared to Jack Nicholson's version, which is great, but at the same time, it's like, but that's still just Jack Nicholson's voice as the Joker. So, it's not truly the Joker, I felt.
I agree, and Nicholson was probably my favorite outside of Hamill.
Yeah. Especially aesthetically, he looked like the Joker. Yeah. That's one thing that's driven me crazy. Is just like the other interpretations is as good, especially as good as Heath Ledger's was. It wasn't the comic book version of the Joker.
Well, I'm of the minority here. I don't like Heath Ledger's Joker. I like his character itself, but I don't even like to call it the Joker because even though he was maniacal, sadistic, all of that, I didn't feel any charisma other than, he did a phenomenal job of portraying what he did, but I didn't feel that the public loves this guy for some reason.
Right. I can see that. Yeah.
And that was what I thought Nicholson did do very well.
Yeah.
But Hamill, and that was the bitch about Hamill is you didn't see the man. You saw the drawing.
Yeah. It was just the voice. And it's interesting going back and watching those first few episodes, and you see how, like, when he was originally doing it, he almost sounded like a normal guy. And as the more he grew with the role, you could just tell he was further evolving the character the more he played him. So like once he got to the Arkham games, he really got into the dark and gritty areas of the character. I think Mark Hamill of all people truly understands the character.
Yeah, I'll co-sign that.
Yeah,
which leads me to a question I've been wanting to I've had chambered for like the whole week. Which was, the Joker's clearly very special to you between Nightwing, between you doing the Killing Joke monologues, between everything you've done with the Joker. But who are some of your other favorite comic book villains? Because clearly you're into it.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm a big Green Goblin fan. I love him. I love the Riddler.
Oh, yes.
I'm very interested to see what Paul Dano does with this in the new one because I love Frank Gorshin's version, but I've really, at that time, Riddler and Joker were so much alike in personality. I see Riddler as being more like the Jeffrey Combs type of character, the smart, intellectual, stuck up type of he knows he's the smartest man in the room, and he will lord that over everybody. He's just so full of himself, the ego that's there. That's what I really want to see. But I think he's an interesting character. Then Magneto, I think, is a very interesting villain as well from the X-Men. Given his past, especially being a Holocaust survivor and all that, and just it's that whole trying to he sometimes has a good he sometimes walks the good path, sometimes he goes down the bad path. He's got that constant battle, and I love that relationship between him and Charles Xavier. It's like it's also the same kind of relationship between Batman and Harvey Dent as well. I've always loved Two-Face because I think he's a very dynamic character as well. I think there's so many of the Batman rogues gallery that are just that are real interesting characters. Like Mr. Freeze.
Mm-hmm.
He's especially because they really fleshed out his story with the Batman animated series. Like Paul Dini, he's the one that came up with the whole story of his wife. He froze his wife to keep her from dying and everything like that, and that's what caused him to. He's a tragic villain. I love those kind of characters too.
Yeah, extremely misunderstood.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Madam J is falling all over herself at the moment right now.
Oh, I could go into Carnage. Love Carnage. I love Mr. Mxyzptlk.
Oh wow!
I never thought about it. You would make an insane Carnage.
Oh, I would love. I'm interested to see what Woody Harrelson does with it, though.
Yes.
Just to see what he does. But I was like, dang it, because I would love to play Carnage.
I love Woody Harrelson. I feel like he's too old to play Cletus Cassidy.
Yeah. But it's done.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
nothing I can do about it.
So
I'll agree he's too old to play Cletus Cassidy, but I think he can play Carnage, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Like the different aesthetic in Carnage mode will help him, but I'm with you, not quite on the
well,
Cletus
I mean,
Cassidy
if George
kick.
Clooney could be Batman, then anything's possible. I mean,
Yeah. Just put nipples on him.
you know,
Bink, bink. I'm Carnage, y'all.
Going down the comic book realm, I did hear in an interview where you stated you wanted to remake The Mask. And as somebody who is a huge fan of The Mask, the movie and the Dark Horse comics, I'm all over this. Can someone kickstart this immediately? We need to get Jim Carrey as Stanley Ipkiss in there so we can kill him and get The Mask on somebody else.
Yeah.
That's
where I think it would lend itself really well to a TV series.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
So what?
Like, make it a Netflix series because you've had so many different people that have worn the mask. Yeah. So it's not just Stanley Ipkiss. You had Stanley, then his girlfriend, then eventually Calloway. Lieutenant Calloway takes the mask on, and he becomes more the superhero type character with the mask.
Yeah, and Stanley Ipkiss is such a small part of it, and it just takes on a life of its own afterwards. It's such a good story, and I don't even want to talk about the Jamie Kennedy thing.
Oh no, but I actually still think that was actually one of Jim Carrey's best performances, though, and not just as the Mask, but as Stanley Ipkiss as well. It was just like he brought a lot of heart to that character in the movie. You actually kind of felt sorry for the guy, and
Oh, you totally felt sorry for the guy, and being able to bounce back and forth between the two.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm with you. I don't think that's enough. He gets enough credit for that particular role.
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask this question after we did our, horror clown or not, but upon doing Terrifier, did you ever feel like the movie would generate the appeal and following that it did and now has? And then, also being a horror serial killing clown, was there a sense of being lost in a mix of other horror clowns like Pennywise, Stitches the Clown, Captain Spaulding, the Poltergeist Clown, Wrinkles the Clown, Killer Clowns from Outer Space, etc., etc., etc.
So many clowns.
Like, did you ever feel like you would get lost in the shuffle of clown movies everywhere?
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that. First off, we didn't expect Terrifier to take off the way it did. We thought we had something cool there, and we thought, okay, maybe the fans of All Hallows Eve will like us, but we were trying to be realistic with ourselves, because when we made it for like $50,000 basically, and that's unheard of. No one makes a movie for that amount. It's
right,
even
favorite.
back in the 70s, they weren't even making movies for that much. So it's just we pulled off a freaking miracle. But so yeah, we're like, we're not a big studio film. We like, who knows if this will be seen by anybody. One of our producers, when he first saw me in costume, he comes and he's like, "Oh my God, you guys don't realize this, but you've got something here. That is an iconic look. That is going to stick out to people. This is going to go somewhere. I guarantee you guys." And he truly believed it. I think he was like the first person that really came and was like, "No, this is going to go somewhere. I guarantee you." And he was right. But we were even like, we hope, And that's the thing is like, we were filming this back in fall of 2015, so it was before they even started filming it. And that was the thing. It was like, oh, we got to get this out before it comes out because that's going to overshadow us. It's like, and we don't want, because probably after it comes out, because they're all, Rob Zombie was also filming 31. So we're like, oh God, there's going to be an oversaturation of clown movies, and they're all going to be like more mainstream ones. So like, how are we going to stick out? Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. So we're like, okay, let's try to be the first ones to get it out, but we weren't the first ones out the door. But in a weird way, I think it kind of helped us because all of a sudden people were really interested in killer clowns again.
Yep.
But we were the opposite of Pennywise. And that, I think that's where, Damien really captured lightning in a bottle there, because he deliberately modeled Art to be the very opposite of Pennywise. Because he's like, who's the biggest killer clown everybody thinks of? Pennywise. Okay, well, we need to be the opposite of him. So Art is bald. Art is silent. He's not colorful. He uses props, So it's like, yeah. I think that was smart. I think, it's like Damien knows his stuff.
I'll say so.
I mean, I truly think it was just a group effort. You referenced your co-stars earlier. You referenced, making sure you're the opposite. I truly think it's just everybody saw the work in it. Brandon reviewed it and calls me and goes, "Dude, watch this movie."
Mm-hmm.
Like, and it was also on the heels of the new Puppet Master, which that's my franchise.
Yeah.
And he goes, "This is the best horror movie I've seen in 5 years." And I'm like, "Better than the new Puppet Master?" And he goes, "You know what? I'll go out on a ledge." Yes. What?
Wow.
And immediately I'm like, no, okay. So, I mean, I went in and watched it, 5 minutes later and called him, was like, okay, all right, I'm in. And I just think it was really just a team effort. And, we play in metal bands, and we play with a lot of different bands. Mm-hmm. And we have fans of rap, fans of pop punk come up to us and say, "Man, you guys are good." Like, and we respect that. And this being on a much grander scale, I think it's just good is good. Yeah. And you guys just did something so good that it can't be denied. The cream of the crop, brother, the cream of the crop.
Well, I think you hit the nail on the head. It's because it was a team effort. It wasn't just like Damien and I. It was everybody. Every single member of that crew was important. Every member of the cast was important. And it was a collaborative effort. We all, it wasn't just Damien's idea or I had an idea. We would even have crew members that would come up with an idea like, "Hey, why don't we do this?" Like, "Hey, let's try that." It was because all of us wanted to make the best movie we could, and we did. And we're proud of it.
It shows, and you guys all should be.
It's so. With that being said, everybody is excited for Terrifier 2. We know you guys wrapped filming in 2020. So, what is the status of Terrifier 2?
Well, I think they have a few little pickups here and there to do. But Damien, even because Damien was working on stream with me as well, he was doing all the practical effects. So that's going to tell you what the kills are going to be like in this movie as well. But
awesome.
It was when Damien wasn't putting makeup on people or building a prosthetic, he had brought his computer down and he was in his hotel room just all day, just editing. So, and he would occasionally just come, he would finish a scene. And he would call people and he's like, "I want you to see this scene. What do you think?" So he was like, so I've seen parts of the movie and it's looking good. It's looking really good. It's really fun watching some of the scenes that, like, especially the big scene that we filmed last year. It's about a 10-minute long set piece. It's a crazy scene, and seeing people. I have so much fun watching people watch the scene, just seeing their reactions, or like the big kill scene that we filmed right before Christmas. He's edited big chunks of that already, and just seeing how people react to it. It's like, okay, we've got it right here. We've got it right. So I'm excited. It's very exciting. It's just I think the second film is I kind of look at the first film as like a proof of concept compared to what we're doing in Terrifier 2. It's just this is I don't want to jinx us, but I feel like this is our Empire Strikes Back.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow. That's a lofty goal.
Yeah. But it just, I think he's just elevated everything, because Damien listened to all the criticism, the good criticism, but also the bad criticism, anything negative, and he took it all to heart. And he's like, he's like, oh, what can we do to improve on it? And he did that. He's especially spent a lot of time, because I know one of the big critiques of the first film, there wasn't a lot of character development with the other characters. There wasn't a lot of plot, and that's one thing he really wanted to focus on. This one is developing the new heroine in this, Sienna, and fleshing out her and her relationship with her family, and with her mother and her little brother and her friends. And they're really fun characters. And even when I'm not in a scene, I think the scenes with like her that are just developing her relationship with her friends and everything, they're entertaining scenes as well. Everybody's so great. It's just an entertaining film, and it's gonna be a bigger film, longer film.
All right.
Man.
Gorier film too, if you can. Gorier, yes.
Wow.
He's outdone himself on the prosthetics in this thing. There were some of these things I was like, they looked exactly like the actor, and I'm like, where he had even made it look like they're breathing. It's just like, this is amazing. And he actually, it's a weird thing too, because it's the pandemic, because we were so close to be finished with the filming. We just had like some of the bigger kill scenes to film, but the biggest chunk of the film was already done when we had to go into lockdown. And he was able to take time to really go back and look at the scenes that we had yet to film, and he had time to build the prosthetics, and he had time to really think those scenes out, and really expand on what he originally wanted to do. And that's what he did. So like, we even filmed part of the big kill scene that we filmed right before Christmas, before the pandemic, and then he scrapped that, what we had already filmed, because he's like, that was good, but this I think is going to be better. And I'm so glad we did that, because I think what we already started to film was good. It would have been just perfectly fine, but I think this is just taking things up to the next level.
And Cricket Weasel in the chat says Damien is a genius with practical effects, and I have to concur on that, because in a world of horror movies where CGI is king, bringing it back to the 80s and 90s with practical effects is what horror is all about.
Yeah. Let me just tell you, that's how it is with this practical effects. Is this kill scene that we filmed in December, it took us about a week to film it because all the prosthetics in it. It's yeah. It's pretty crazy with the practical effects in this scene, and we wanted to do it right, so we took our time with it.
All right.
Man, I won't lie. This so far has been an excessively fun episode to do, but seeing you just fucking blush beat red and your smile widen 10 fucking times over at your pride in what you've got going on, Jesus Christ, man!
Yeah.
Dude, I'm so pumped up for this.
You're gonna be so grossed out. You're gonna hate me.
I doubt it.
You're gonna be like, oh my god, you bastard!
I love seeing people really proud of what they're doing. Like nothing's better to me than seeing an artist just gush over their own work. Like just be so proud to be a part of what they're involved in. And like I said, you've so far just been wonderful tonight. When we touched on this, you just blew the fuck up.
Well, I'll tell you how bad it is. Like when Damien was editing it, this is the guy that was watching horror films at the age of 3. He's like an encyclopedia when it comes to horror films. He's seen everything. He said he had to take a break and message me because he was getting nauseous.
Oh!
Yes. Yes.
He was getting nauseous.
Well, on that note, let's take a 2-minute break and check out the Terrifier 2 2020 trailer. Let's check this out.
Yay! Is there sound?
So what are your plans tomorrow?
You won't be able to hear it.
Oh, okay.
And if you've got a phone side saddle or something, you could turn that volume up.
Okay.
You think that guy's
I just
still
want
out
to make
there?
sure everybody else
What's
could.
up with you and this
Oh,
guy
yeah.
all of a sudden? You're like obsessed. They never found his body. What if he decides to come back here?
That garbage was so gross.
I wouldn't worry about it. On the off chance that
I
he
didn't
was
know
still
all
alive
that
and
shit
he's
was
gone
in there. I
far
was like,
away from
oh god.
See what blows is I can't hear this neither.
Yeah. Oh, she is so good. She is so good. You guys are gonna fall in love with her.
I may have already.
Oh man. So, like, how bad does your face hurt at the end of filming? Because you're always doing.
Yeah. It's usually more like the inside of my lips kind of hurt because they're constantly brushing up against the fake teeth I have. So yeah,
Those hurt.
yeah. After a while, it's just that the rubbing up against them from time to time.
Oh man. So everything you said before just blew away all the questions I had noted down. So that we can't wait. But there are rumors of a Terrifier 2 comic book coming out preceding the movie.
Mm-hmm. It's the comic book is of the first movie.
Oh, okay.
But there are a few things fleshed out a little bit more in it, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
So is there any scary movies out there that still bother you today?
Oh God. Yeah. The original Texas Chainsaw Massacre. It's just like that dinner scene just creeps me out.
Yeah.
Especially with the finger in Grandpa's mouth, where you think he's dead, and he just it's like that kind of stuff. It's just God, yeah, it's that's just creepy. Creepy.
And all those movies have this weird, ominous effect that just goes throughout the whole movie just to purposely make you feel uncomfortable. No matter which one it is.
That is such a grimy film. It just feels dirty.
The whole time.
Yeah, the whole time. It just feels dirty. It's like, and that's like the kind of like look that Rob Zombie has to his films too, where they just look dirty.
You know, I feel
smell
like
the body of it.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. I feel like in watching the commentary on the first Halloween when Rob Zombie talked about, I like my violence simple and nasty because that's how violence really is.
Yeah.
And I feel like from that moment on, even though so many people shat on his movies, he kind of brought that to the forefront. Violence became a lot more simple and nasty with his movies.
Yep. Oh yeah.
So as we kind of wind down, let's just ask some strange, random Art the Clown questions.
Actually, I've got a couple totally off the wall questions.
Cool.
So, one of the things I read and I've seen repeated in your interviews, you know, in your respect for the horror movie genre, you talk about hollow ground, and you think remakes in general are kind of getting out of hand. Like you want to see more compelling original characters.
Yeah.
So rather than ask you like, oh, who would you want to play in this remake? Who would you want to play in that remake? What historical figure would you like to play the most?
Well, that's tough. What historical figure? Because I'm like, who would I fit as? That's the thing. who could I actually? Who could I mean, I might be able to play Lincoln or something like that. But like,
that's the easy answer. I saw
yeah,
that. But,
that's the easy one. But God, I don't know. I've really never thought that one before. That's like, it would be fun to do something like, just go back to the old, like, explore that silent film era and do the different actors, like all that whole studio system then, like Chaplin and Keaton and all of them working, on their films and interacting and all that kind of, or something with vaudeville days. So that would be interesting.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't expect you to take it that direction, but I'd love to, dude. I think you'd make a killer Chaplin.
Yeah. Thank you.
Like I really do. You encompass a lot of what he does or did, however you want to put it, and I think that would actually be cool. I think he'd look dope with the mustache and the top and the bowler.
Doodle.
So we got Cricket Weasel in the chat again. She asks, what is the most taxing role by far that you have played?
Oh, God. I would say probably I've done this play twice. It's called The 39 Steps, and it's based on an old Hitchcock film, but they made it into a comedy, and it's because it's 4 actors that do this play, and it's the main actor plays the main character, the female plays 3 main females, and they're 2 clowns, and they play everybody else, and set in England and Scotland during World War II. And one of the characters I played in it was an English professor living in Scotland who was actually a German Nazi spy. So that was fun. So I had to really perfect my dialects and everything. And I played, because I played both clowns in the 2 times I played it. So I've played over 60 characters in that show.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, so a lot of crazy accents and characters. So it's really helped me develop my English and Scottish dialects pretty well. But that's a very, very physical show, because even when you're not on stage as a character, because the clowns are always in scenes, I would sometimes have to argue with myself on stage. So I was constantly changing back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. So it's mentally draining, but it's also physically draining, because when you're not on stage, you're part of the crew. So you're having to move the set pieces around and stuff like that. And so you're constantly going. There's no downtime for like 2.5 hours. And so every night I would just be a sweaty mess by the end of the show. But in a good way. It was worth it, because that's how I am. I was like, I'm usually exhausted anytime I do something with, even if it's like a small scene. I'm usually exhausted afterwards, because I put all my energy into what I'm doing on screen or on stage, and so I don't feel like I've done something right unless I'm basically useless the next day.
It's supposed to take it out of you, when you throw yourself into anything, be it musical, Broadway, acting, it's supposed to take it out of you. You're supposed to pour it into it. And you know what, man? It shows. It really shows in what you do.
That's what we do as performers in our heavy metal bands. Is he likes to paint up and dress up like, well, he's in a band called Nothing But Losers. Shameless plug. And they dress up, they paint up, they have characters and costumes, and they put on a whole shebang. So I completely concur with what you're saying. Concur. That is my word of the night. Concur.
I completely concur.
So what else you got, Lunchbox? I know you have another one on there.
Well, one of my favorite things, like I said, as soon as I locked you down for this, like I went into mode. Like you've been on my screen in one form or another for the last 3 weeks. At least.
I'm sorry.
Hey, you know what? No, thank you, because it's nice to delve into somebody else. You know what I mean? To try and pick apart somebody
Giggity.
to get ready to ask them a bunch of questions. One of my favorite things you did was the 110 impressions in 9 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And I was absolutely fucking floored by your generational range. Like from the Looney Tunes to King of the Hill. I mean, we all see the Simpsons background behind me. I'm a cartoon guy and always have been. So my question to you is, what were your favorite cartoons growing up, and what are your favorite cartoons now?
Oh God. I mean, I was a huge Hanna-Barbera and Warner Brothers and Disney file. I watched all of that as a kid. All of that. Loved them all. Big Ninja Turtles freak. Oh, huge Ninja Turtles freak. Oh,
Hell
my
yeah.
God. Oh my God. I was just like, I think that's really where I started developing a lot of my voices, because I would just do the voices for my turtle figures and stuff like that. Shredder, you fall.
Shit.
My mom was like, "You're crazy." I'm like, "No, I'm not. No, I'm making voices, mommy."
Oh, it's been too long.
Like, what are you doing with you? The Mr. Shredder, just doing all that, just cowabunga, man. I was having fun.
Come on, Raph.
Come on, Raph. It's like, whoa, Raph. It's like, I love Ninja Turtles. Oh my God. But lately, I've really, it harkens back to the stuff I watched as a kid, but one of the series I really like is the new DuckTales series. I think is brilliant.
I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it yet.
It is so
dude,
good. I know
Brandon.
a lot of people were turned off by the animation at first, but you get used to the animation. It's the story and the characters. They've really developed these characters very, like Huey, Dewey, and Louie now have their own unique personalities, and it works so well. They've modernized things. That like Miss Beakley is not just the maid; she's a former shush agent that used to work with Scrooge, and that's why she's working with. So she's also his bodyguard. It's just Webby is not this little rubble and a cute little thing. She's like this hyperactive nerd, and she's like. It's great, and they have so much love in it. So many references to the old comic books, the old series, all of that, the video games. But it also puts like a lot of love into old Disney afternoon cartoons as well.
Yeah.
They have reference to all of them in there. What they did with Darkwing Duck on it is fantastic. So I love that. I've also like Rick and Morty. I think it's a brilliant cartoon. But I've also started. I recently got Funimation, and I got hooked onto One Piece.
Okay.
So I'm about 400 episodes or so into One Piece now, and I'm just like, oh, it's so good.
Dude, I'll co-sign that new DuckTales with you. We started putting that on for my toddler. And
Oh yeah.
The submarine episode is my go-to on that show. Like just with Donald playing the double agent there.
Yes.
I mean, dude, I fell over so many times watching that episode, and I could watch it nightly.
Oh, it's brilliant. It's so well done. It's just, I hate that this is the last season of it, because I just want it to keep going because I love it so much.
Have you seen the new Animaniacs?
I have. I like it. But it's lost some of what worked in the original. I think I know something. It seemed like they were obsessed with butts a lot in this new version. They're always like showing butts. It's a different animation style, and it's like, what's with all the butts so much? I'm like, at first I was like, well, where are all the side characters like the Good Feathers and Chicken Boo and Slappy Squirrel and all those guys? But they actually address that in one episode. Yeah, they're in butts, but they address it in a clever way. But still, I'm still happy to see it. I mean, I still think it's funny as anything.
Yeah.
Sitting there laughing and stuff like that. So.
I thought it was genius for what it was. My wife is like looking at me going, "Why is this special?" I'm like, "You don't understand."
You're like, shut up, Heather. Like, I'm trying to get down on this.
Yeah. Also, because the original was just so ahead of its time. It was just such cutting satire. I mean, because I was a teen, like, I was about 13 when it came out. So I liked it just because it was animation. But, like, the older I got and when I went back and rewatched old episodes, I was like, oh my God, this is brilliant. It's so smart.
Yeah, it's one of those things you don't realize the first time you watch it as a kid. And as you revisit, you're just like, wow, like all the weirdness. I love that you brought up Chicken Boo.
Yeah.
He was one of my favorites. How just nobody got he was a chicken until the end, and all of a sudden they hated him for it.
I loved it. It went so obvious. It's a giant chicken.
Right, just
chicken, I
happens to
tell
be
you, a
wearing a
giant
mustache.
chicken. He's just wearing a mustache and a hat. He's like,
All right, a couple more softball questions, and we'll let you go on your very busy way. So, what movie would you like to insert Art the Clown as a crossover?
oh my God.
It could be,
Titanic. That would be hilarious.
yeah.
So it's already bad enough, but then you have Art on the ship just...
Like, you just want him up there, like while he's doing the I'm king of the world, like all of a sudden Art just comes up and caresses his boobs, like,
and then pushes him over.
During the drawing scene with Kate Winslet, he's like in the corner, just like
yeah,
like with the car sex scene, he just kind of walks by, and when her hand hits the window, his hand hits the window.
Yeah. Like, oh, wait a minute, Buzz, blood going down instead. It's like, oh, the whole door scene, you could probably do something just horrible with that. He just kicking Rose off the door or something.
Right, he just pushed them both into the water and like paddles away with it.
Yeah.
mine.
Uses his shoe to paddle away.
They throw the locket, he catches it and fucking pockets it.
Why the hell are you throwing this thing overboard?
Gives it the old gold medal bite and shit.
Yeah, breaks off a tooth.
Oh, the comedy bits throughout that whole thing will be amazing.
Oh my God, it'd be hilarious.
On that exact same note, listener and viewer Sarah Yingling, she asked, "What do you think Art the Clown's favorite movie would be?"
Oh God, what was his favorite movie?
If Art the Clown does watch movies.
Silent movie. Mel Brooks movie.
Okay.
Oh,
Okay.
wow.
Yeah. Yeah, a silent film, silent movie. Oh my God, I feel horrible because I have it in my collection. I'm just like, it's a great one. This is the only person. There's only one person that talks in it, and I thought that was brilliant. It's Marcel Marceau. So, like the one person that talks in it, he goes, "No."
Now, do you think Art would only be into silent movie, or do you think he'd be a Mel Brooks fan?
Oh, he would definitely be a Mel Brooks fan. How can he not be a Mel Brooks fan?
Well, I think everybody should be a Mel Brooks
Oh,
fan.
everybody should be a Mel Brooks fan.
I mean,
Like-
I still think Men in Tights is the best Robin Hood outside of the Disney version.
Oh, because he speaks with an English accent. I mean, I think, Blazing Saddles and Young Frankenstein are two of the best comedies ever made.
Young Frankenstein is on my debate for top 2 of the funniest movies of all time.
Mm-hmm.
It's
so good.
It's either Young Frankenstein or Coming to America, and I fight with myself.
Yeah. I'm excited about Coming to America, too. I mean, I'm not expecting it to be better than the first one.
Mm-hmm.
I'm nervous. I'm
Yeah.
really nervous.
I'm just happy to see Eddie Murphy doing Eddie Murphy again.
Hell yes.
That's what I want to see. It's just Eddie Murphy being Eddie Murphy. Ah, God. I love Eddie Murphy.
Oh, dude, Eddie Murphy, like you said, the phrase "ahead of his time" is so overutilized, but it's a great way to put. I mean, you just think about his suit in Raw, everything that Eddie Murphy ever, Mr. Robert's Neighborhood.
Oh my God!
Like, I mean,
the
Jesus.
word of the day is bitch. Now go to your mom and say that to her. I'll wait. Did she slap you? Then you said it right.
All right,
Now,
who's the greatest comedian of all time?
Oh God, Robin Williams to me.
Yeah.
He's just the greatest to me. It's just like he was just so quick. Like he could just riff forever. Like one of my favorite episodes of Inside of Actor Studios when he was on it. And they gave him a pink scarf. Some woman in the audience gave him a pink scarf. And he just sat there coming up with different characters. Boom, 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 using this scarf. And it was just like, that's the mind that man had for comedy.
You know, my dad told me a story as a kid where his buddy was redoing, I think it was the countertops or something in Robin Williams' kitchen.
Mm-hmm.
And he couldn't get a fucking thing done because Robin Williams kept wandering into the kitchen and just having fun with him the whole time, you know, and eventually he had to ask him to stop.
Yeah.
Because he's like, you know, you pay me to do a job. I want to at least get it done in a somewhat of a decent amount of time. And he just couldn't get anything done because Robin Williams just kept wandering in trying to hang out with him.
I think that's just how he was. He was, because he dealt with so much depression, and that's how he dealt with his depression. Was he wanted to bring joy and happiness to other people because he knew what it was like to be depressed himself, and he didn't want other people to feel that way. And I'm like, that's one of my favorite stories I heard about him was there was a family coming back from a funeral, so they were still in a funeral attire, and they decided to stop into an ice cream store. And he happened to be in the store, and he put two and two together, and he saw these people coming in, very somber, dressed very nicely, and he saw people in pain, and he went over and just sits down at their table, goes, "Hi, I'm Robin," and he sat there and entertained them. He saw people in pain, and he wanted to make them happy. And I just thought that he went over there and just said, "Hi, I'm Robin," like they didn't know who he was. And that's like that just speaks volumes about the man's character.
Yeah, wow. Like that just floored me a little bit. You know, I pride myself on the same thing, you know. It's been a rough year, you know. Lost my mom about a year ago, or about 8-9 months ago.
Sorry.
You know, 2020 in general. Thank you. You know, and last night just making that call to Brandon and getting in with the shirts floored me. And I woke up this morning, you know, thinking about that, thinking about tonight, and just it's time to entertain.
Yeah.
And you know, so I feel like not enough people have that mindset, you know, that it makes me happy to make you happy.
Yeah.
And, you know, like I said, just the world lost a treasure in Robin Williams in that way. And I just hope more people think that way, you know, not to be somber or anything, but, you know, I just feel like more of us need to think about that. And that's our role as entertainers.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I left a teaching career. It was a year after my mom died, and I was going back for my internship. And that same month, right before I went to start my internship, and during it was a month's time, my dog died, my grandmother died.
Oh.
A friend of mine committed suicide, and my sister married a homeless man who's now in jail for molesting 2 little girls. Ouch. So it was just like, yeah. So there was a lot going on, and I was just like downward spiral, and I was making mistakes left and right in the classroom because my brain was just, you know, not functioning. I was, you know, probably in the middle of a nervous breakdown. And I was reading stories to my students one day, and I was doing all the little voices for the characters, and they were just laughing and having fun, and they wanted me to keep reading, and it hit me, and I was like, this is what I'm actually meant to do. I'm getting more fulfillment out of entertaining and making these kids happy and making them laugh instead of teaching them. This is what I need to do. And that's when I decided to quit teaching and become an actor.
Man, that's deep, and I love it. David Howard Thornton, sir, what are you grateful for?
Just the opportunity to do what I'm doing. I'm very grateful. I'm doing something that so many people want to do as well, and they've been working hard to get here, and I feel lucky to have gotten here. I'm able to do something I love that brings me joy as a career. It's the best job you can have when something it doesn't feel like a job, when it's just something you love to do.
Well, sir, if you ever come down to the Bay Area, please don't be shy in hitting us up, and we will take you out to the coolest places.
Oh, of course. I love the Bay Area. My cousins used to live in Novato, so I used to go there a lot when I was a kid. Oh, it is. It is. I love San Francisco. It's like my favorite city.
You know, people don't appreciate how beautiful it really is, and even to go deeper, man. If you ever make it to Northern California, man, you've got a seat at my table. I'm a bit of a renowned cook.
He is.
You know,
yeah.
Like you know, like I said, you've got a plate waiting for you at any given moment, man. Like, you know, we came on to quote unquote interview an actor, and fuck, man, this has been a hell of an experience all the way through.
I'm happy.
Well, you know what? As we wind this down, we are looking forward in 2021 to see your new outings of Stream, The Dark Offerings, and most notably, Terrifier 2. Is there anything else you have in the works that we haven't seen yet?
Nothing that I can really talk about yet because I don't have contracts signed.
Understood.
So I don't like to say I'm doing something per se until I have a contract signed, because I've had so many things where I thought I was going to do something and it falls through. So I'm just like, we'll see. We'll see.
All right. So do us all a favor. You know, look right into that camera like you're doing now and tell everybody where they can find you and where they can find your body of work.
Hi, everybody. You can find me on Facebook and Instagram under David Howard Thornton. I try my best to respond to everybody. You know, I sometimes get a little bit overwhelmed, but I do my best. Also, I have a Cameo page as well, so if you want me to do a shout out for a birthday or whatever else, you know, I'm happy to do that as well. And yeah, that's where you can find me. As for Terrifier, you can find that on, like, I believe we're now on, what is it?
Tubi and Pluto.
Yes, thank you. Someone did their research. Yes.
They took it off Netflix. I was pissed.
Oh yeah, we had a 2-year contract with Netflix, so that was already pre-planned. So, but yeah, hey, we did great when we were on there. We were one of their top horror films the whole entire time we were on there. That's insane for a small little, low budget horror film that, we're the little movie that could.
I had 3 coworkers at the time tell me that they couldn't finish it because it scared them.
Yes, that's good.
And one of them is the meanest person I know. So when she told me that, I was just like, oh, fuck yeah, dude. Like, we scored on that one.
Yes. I love hearing that. It's like when we were doing screenings of the movie, sometimes people would walk out and, you usually don't want to see people walk out of your movie, but we're like, it's just they couldn't handle it. And I was like, yes, we got them.
Oh, man. So, David, thank you so much for joining our little podcast for episode 100 of Talking Shop with the Boss in the Box. It has been an honor and a privilege to host you tonight. Thank you for spending your time with us.
All right, hang on, Brandon.
I'm honored to be your 100th guest, I guess.
But before we go away, and David, don't go nowhere. We always have post-show hangouts. Brandon, we forgot because we got excited. We got to pay the bills real quick. Could you hit us with that sponsor graphic?
Okay. All right.
Make that money.
All right.
Ladies and gentlemen, do you have financial questions? Do you have bill problems? Do you have problems with money? Well, we can help you with that. Ladies and gentlemen, contact Leilani Mosinske. That is LeiloniMosinske. Financial professional. You can call her at 510-571-7215, or you can email her at Leilani. That is leiloni.wfg@gmail.com. License number 0M14654, or you can check out the website at www.wfgconnects.com/LeilaniM. She will teach you the rules of money, tax-free retirement, asset protection, college planning, principal protection, legacy planning, recession-proof industry, home-based income, small business exit strategy, increased cash flow, estate preservation. For a limited time, she's offering a free financial education class and a statement breakdowns. Limited time free financial consultation and plan. As always, for your financial education needs, please contact Leilani Mosinske. You can also find our sponsorship at the Bungalow Bunnies Burlesque Group. That's the Bungalow Bunnies on Facebook, Bungalow Bunnies on Instagram. You can also find our shirts now at tpublic.com/talking shop with the boss in the box. And Brandon, before we go away, where can they find you?
You can find me on Instagram at the real Brandon Blacker. You can find my band Suburban Paranoia on all social media platforms, on Spotify, Apple Music, you name it, we got it. We're gonna bang your head and rock you. Where can they find you, Mr. Loungebox?
You know what? Don't worry about where you can find me. There's been enough talk about me tonight. But you can find this show on Talking Shop with the Boss in the Box on Facebook. Make sure you join the Talking Shop with the Boss in the Box Facebook discussion group where we shitpost memes, wrestling, horror, and all that other bullshit that you want to bullshit about all day, every day. You can find us at Talking Shop with the Boss in the Box on Instagram. And you can find us at shop_talking on Twitter. But most importantly, even after 100 episodes, every Monday night, live at 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, you can find us right here on Facebook. Join us for Talking Shop with the Boss in the Box, episode 101 and beyond. And gentlemen, I raise my drink to you. Here's to 100 and 100 more.
Woo! Good night, everybody. Thank you, David Howard Thornton.
Thank you.
Good night, everybody.